Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sonic Rush playthrough. In this part, we go to a water level because...
It's about time.
Because when you're playing a game that's all about speed, you need to have Sonic run on water at some point just to show off how speedy he is.
Even though I don't even think that's physically possible no matter how fast you go.
No, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
It's possible, yeah.
You just have to be going really, really fast.
I'll tell you what's not physically possible. Half of the, roundabout curves and loops and stuff that Sonic has been doing on a very, very regular basis since, what was the earliest game to do that? No, not the... going around inside a loop, that's possible if you're fast enough. Going around a loop that's,
the super gigantic loop. The first one that I remember that being in the first level, there's like a gigantic super loop.
Not the super gigantic loop, the ones that go in the other direction, the ones that are outward loop, inside-out loops, the curves, the circles, the...
corkscrews, or...?
Not the corkscrews, the fucking roundish things that people were complaining about being in Sonic 4.
Oh, hills.
Sonic can't run up hills, that's not possible.
It's not hills. Fucking, circular hillside, circular ceiling things.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Technically possible in the old physics engine, but they never really put it in level designs in any significant way because it makes no physical sense.
Alright, can you tell me, what was the point of homing attacking enemies in tunnel stages? Did they give you...
They give you like 5 rings, I think?
2.
They gave you some rings.
Seems more of an inconvenience to me than anything else.
I would like to say that the Sonic Heroes brand of homing attack stepping stone enemies, as seen in this special stage, are the blandest in the entire series, and I hate them.
Louis, why don't you just get your list out right now and say everything you don't like about this Rush series in general?
I don't have a list.
Take your time, take your time.
I've just been seriously sleep deprived this week, so whenever I see something going on screen that I dislike, I want to complain about it. Cathartic. But what I'm really complaining about on the inside is lack of sleep and how my body won't sleep for 8 straight hours without waking up automatically. Fuck.
I've got more than 100 rings above the total.
A little too easy.
This is the easiest fucking special stages in the series.
Well, one of the easiest anyway.
One of these, I still think, what the hell?
3D Blast.
At this point,
no.
you really just want the special stage to end.
I could it would be faster for me to just keep on walking, but I want to get 200 rings higher than the stage.
I want more!
Just to show off.
Damn it!
Our
Close.
level's overwhelming, Ted. Unfortunately, nobody cares.
Oh. Okay,
I will say, the thing that annoys me the most, though, with the Rush series in general, and this is an audio nitpick, but the sound effects in general. Not the soundtrack, the sound effects.
What about them? Because I'm...
ear grating. They're really fucking ear grating. You know, we're playing it on a...
I don't know. The new Mario Brothers series, they're not anywhere near as grating as... I don't really remember them.
It just makes no sense to me. We're on the Nintendo DS, but I'm hearing sound effects that belong on a fucking NES.
I think it might be space limitations, but I think it's more this DS's sound card, or whatever sound card they're using for Sonic Rush in general. Because you showed me the arranged versions of the Sonic Rush tracks, which are so good that going back to Sonic Rush's in-game soundtrack is almost painful to.
Yeah.
And I think that whatever caused them to have to tone down the sound quality on the music, I think also has to do with how the sound effects sound as well. Even though I don't get why it should be that much of a problem, because a lot of DS games have absolutely amazing sound design, so I don't know.
What do you guys think of Rush's soundtrack as a whole?
I love Rush's
Hi,
soundtrack.
Jet Set Radio guy.
This is one of my favorite handheld Sonic soundtracks.
It is an awesome soundtrack, but at the same time, something about it is weird to me.
Jet Set
Well, that's
Radio.
because it's not only that you can't understand whatever this guy is singing about, it's that when you do, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just like, back-to-back, what?
Well,
Back-to-back,
that bugs me too. And you know, I had a similar problem with Secret Rings' soundtrack. If you're going to have lyrics in a song, make them, lyrical.
Tell that to modern rap.
I hate modern rap. I hate rap in general.
I hear what it means.
Literally, the
No,
only rap
Wayne.
I've listened to that I like at all is fucking Eminem.
No, Little Wayne, nigga, does not
No,
rhyme with
I
everything.
was right there! I drowned! What's wrong with me?
Even in fucking Sonic Rush, the water is your worst enemy.
I fucking hate water levels.
What did you guys think of? Because Rush was the first one to do it. The boost mechanic. I know we've done other games where at this point they've had the boost feature, but the one that introduced it. But what did you guys first think?
The levels were designed to compensate for it, so I think it works fairly well.
I like the boost in this game because I make it sort of a challenge to myself to see how far I can go without running out of boost. Because in this game, you can basically make it so that you have unlimited boost for a limited amount of time, and you can increase that unlimited amount of time if you do tricks and kill enemies and stuff. I try to see how far I can go without losing any of my boost, and I like doing that. It's sort of a self-challenge, I guess. It's more than in, like, Generations or in Colors, where you have such a limited amount of boost that I find myself never using it anyway.
For my part, I find myself disliking it for the same reason I dislike Sonic Advance 2. But
See
at
Sonic
least
Run.
Can I just go and say that I don't get all the hate that Advance 2 gets. I mean,
It's the level design is kind of obnoxious. That's just.
but I think Advance 3 is the worst. You
Three
know,
is the
It's
worst
just
to
that
me.
I understand the complaints that Advance 2 gets. I understand it. I really do. But not to the point where it's a terrible game. I actually like Advance 2.
I don't think I've ever called Advance 2 terrible. I just don't like playing it.
I don't mind playing Advance 2, but only if I'm playing as Cream. Any other time, I just sort of want to throw the game out the window at some point.
Why not Tails?
Because Cream is better than Tails.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
He just is.
Cream is just the easy mode of the game.
Cream is probably the most broken character in Sonic existence.
in Advance 2 anyway. Yeah.
And you know what it, and you know the thing that bugs me about the boost in the Rush series is that it winds up just being a compensation for the lack of actual physics.
Well, it doesn't. I think it's more so that the game's
if you
controller
tried-
physics were designed around there being a boost button, rather than they made a shit set of physics and they used the boost button to compensate for that.
The boost
Because-
would have worked just as well without the shitty physics. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think so. Because
They
there's a lot
would
of points
have.
where there's a lot of points where you actually do need to let go on the D-pad and stop on a dime because you're going so fast with the boost. I feel it doesn't really bother me that much, like the Sonic 4
If there are
controls.
parts where you need to do that, it's a level design issue.
Yeah, I was just about to say that actually. You know, let's say like you have a wall of doom coming at you at 500 miles per hour, and you can stop on. That's an issue. Granted, this is all coming from people who've played the classics in their childhood and are used to the momentum-based physics of the original games. But
If you try to play the game without the boost, it's a terrible, terrible game.
Well,
this
then you're
game was
playing it wrong. If you're
This
trying
game
I'm
was
saying
the,
it needs the boost to function, and we just went through a platforming section there with a bottomless pit and classic Dimps design, and fucking hell, those little bits you can't really escape the stiffness of it.
Sonic.
It's still not as stiff as Sonic 4.
No, it's just as stiff as
It's
Sonic
the
4.
same.
actually.
No, I still feel Sonic 4 is a bit more stiff. Probably because the level
Same
design.
physics. It
Sonic
only
Rush.
Probably because the level
it
design.
feels more stiff because the level design tries to be platforming all the time. Or
I actually
really.
I actually did a physics comparison between Sonic 4 and Sonic Rush back when Sonic 4 Episode 1 came out, and besides maybe a slight difference in like jumping momentum, the exact same thing.
You guys are fucking nerds, you know that?
But it's like we're big Sonic fans, Ted.
Yeah, well, no, you guys are nitpicking over the most inconsequential shit I've ever
The
seen.
most inconsequential shit? You mean the game engine?
It's the
Like,
thing
I
is-
don't find it as bad here because I think the game is designed around
The
it
game
better
is
than.
designed around it. Yeah, you can ignore it 99% of the time. In Sonic 4, it's like taking, if you were to port a Sonic level into Sonic Rush, it would have been terrible, and that's more or less what Sonic 4 is.
So then,
Ted,
how is
it's
that?
like-
How is that Rush's fault?
If I can just bring Ted into our viewpoint here for a second, because I know Ted. I think you're like you're not as big of a Sonic fan as.
It's not that I've played tons of Sonic games. I've just gotten sick of the platformer at this point.
It's just that imagine if you you spent years and years and years playing Pikmin, and then say like for Pikmin 4 Episode 1, the Pikmin are altered to the point where it's distracting.
Well,
Randomized dungeons.
Like you know how you play the original Pikmin games, you know how red Pikmin work, you know how yellow Pikmin
Well,
work.
that's the thing is that I feel like people overemphasize, the Sonic is designed around physics. It's always been about stuff like that, and I just kind of call bullshit on that point. Because I feel it's more like fans overanalyzing how the games are supposed to work, rather than the games being designed all that differently. Because if you look at all of the side material for Sonic, look at all the commercials for Sonic, read the instruction manual for all the classic Sonic games, the game series has always been designed around the fact that Sonic runs fast. Blast processing.
That's because fast is sellable. It's
No, the
something
thing
you can
is
put in
that
a
the-
commercial.
I
It's
don't.
something you can put in a commercial. You do not advertise a physics engine unless
And
you're
that-
advertising to developers.
Or your valve.
The thing is, people
Or your
overemphasize the fact that the games have physics when it's really just the fact that the game's control is more important. It's just like the physics up that
physics
control.
are
Yeah.
the control.
Yeah, the physics
yeah.
are the control.
The physics make up the control, yeah, but I feel like people are just looking too deep into it. The way Sonic Rush is designed, if you're using the boost, it controls just fine. The problem is that when the game's mechanics and the game's physics aren't working together, and it makes the control bad, which is what Sonic 4 Episode 1's problem was.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, Sonic Rush would have worked just as well with the old physics, except where the level design just doesn't flat out let it.
It doesn't really, but the doesn't need to have the old physics to work, so I don't.
But
see-
if it had, it would have been better.
I don't
I
think it
just-
would have
it would've-
necessarily been
I-
better.
It
Hold
wouldn't
on,
have
I
suffered
will-
at all.
Hold on, I will disagree there. Because are you
Wouldn't
talking
have-
about just
I'm
removing
saying,
the boost and hold on a second. Are you talking about just removing the boost and just implementing
No.
the classic physics?
no, I'm saying, if the physics engine this game ran on was the classic physics engine, the boost would have worked just as well with the level design. Except one or two places where I can't remember any specific instances of it where you needed to use the physics that weren't.
I don't think so. The game, they didn't choose to make Sonic drop on a rock. Making Sonic drop like a rock when you let go of it, the D-pad was a choice. So I feel they wouldn't have implemented a design thing like that if there wasn't a reason to.
What-
Because they still had the Sonic Advance
Wouldn't
engine hidden back there for them to use. So I feel like
did, and it puzzles the fuck out of me why they didn't use it.
because whenever they were testing that old physics engine with the boost feature, it didn't end up working for whatever reason.
Really?
It
Well,
must
why
not
go to
have
the
because
trouble of making a new engine if the previous one works just fine?
Well, then again,
Damn,
this
this
is the
breakfast sandwich tastes good.
same. You know, Ryan, you say that, but then again, this is the company that made a new engine for Heroes when the SA21
The
just won.
boost isn't exactly a complicated concept. It's basically auto
Press the button
speed.
to go
It's
faster.
a gas pedal that rams things. They could have, in fact, I'd be very surprised if there isn't a fan hack that implements that in the Genesis game somewhere.
And it probably makes some platforming sections wonky as fuck, but we can get into this later.